So just to let you know, I'm recording this session for the people who can't join, who couldn't join this call. So I'm going to show you my logic of storytelling, and I'll give you some examples, and then we can talk about it. And then I will give you some. I don't like the word homework, but your challenge into creating your storytelling based on what you have been filming over the last few weeks. So I'm going to quickly share my screen. Okay. So, great. I'll move this to one side. So still in the challenge of my changing environment, week 4 is about storytelling. So we first did our research, what we wanted to shoot, then we went to go and shoot it. Then we did the critique, and now that we've gathered more content and more context of what we were shooting, because we were experimenting and exploring our environment. Now we're getting more content, and now that we're 2 weeks away from the end, it will give us a new focus in terms of, okay, now everything that I've shot, what is the purpose? And now that I have a vision of me wanting to create a story, how can I get some more content to fill in the story that I want to tell? So storytelling. What is storytelling? So this is very basic. This is not Hollywood. So storytelling is about wanting to convey a message. So you need words, so a narrative. You need visuals. You need audio, so music. And then you're going to combine all these to create your piece, but it's also to invoke an emotion. And so I would say that this is the basics of storytelling. And I will also go into how I also built my stories. So when I'm browsing YouTube or Instagram, I see common mistakes. People, they will take the imagery that they shot and they won't put any words, they won't put any messages. They will only have visuals and music. So what you do, you open up a reel and you see maybe some beautiful imagery with some music, and in terms of storytelling, there's something missing. So sometimes, yeah, people can maybe put some subtitles or something like that, but a lot of the time, if you want to storytell, those aspects are missing. So there's no narration of what is happening, and there is no message. So these are my examples, which I'm going to share with you. I'm not a big person. I'm not a person who's going to be spending a lot of time doing reels and storytelling, but the times that I have taken time to create something, that I wanted to create something of value, it had quite a good outcome. So the first, and I'll tell you the first one was, so in 2013, Shutterstock, they did a competition, and it was called Stories. And they put out the brief. So this is what I'm going to be doing a little bit with you. They put out a brief, is how did Shutterstock change your life? And you had to build a story upon that. So there were people from all around the world that did their stories. So this is 2013, so I was also just starting out. I did a lot of photography and I was just starting out in video. And I also thought, I don't normally enter any competitions, but this I said, like, well, this is a good opportunity. I mean, I love working with Shutterstock, and I believe that I had been doing videos for maybe like 3 years already. and I thought that I had a really good chance of winning because I thought I had a really cool story, and I also had a great way. I thought a good way of filming, and I thought like, and then I also had my cousin who had done an article. So I had asked her if you could do an article about me. So she had written something a few years before. So I took her article and I used that as the narrative. And I was creative in my mind, saying, hey, what could I do? Where am I at the moment? How could I tell the story? How could I have a beginning? How could I have an end? And so then I started going through a creative process in my mind. So the outcome was that I won the Shutterstock Creative Awards, and I won $25,000, which really, I mean, was really happy, of course. And it also anchored the fact that what I was doing was good. I was going in the right direction. And it also financed some documentaries that I was doing. And it also helped me kind of hire some people. So, and that's when my portfolio also really grew. I was able to grow my portfolio to 30,000 photos and videos at that time. So that was one of the first storytelling experience that I've ever had, and actually creating a story. So the second one, this was a couple of years ago. My wife was pregnant, and I was always joking about like having a child who's a boy, and I wanted to make a funny joke about it. And so this story that I did, I filmed. I said to my wife, who was sitting at the beach, I said, hey, let's just do the story now. And so I shot a few scenes with her, and I had the story in my mind, and so I shot it on my iPhone. I went back to the office, and I did I did the voiceover, and I did it in one take. So I didn't do it again and again. I just did it in one take because I knew exactly what I wanted to say. And I put it, and I uploaded it, and combined with Instagram and YouTube, I have had like over 4 million views. So um, so I think it connected with certain people because for certain reasons. One, she was pregnant. I think it connected, and then it was like a little bit of a joke, and then it was like some nice imagery. So I think that's why it also had so many views. And then the last one, and this is when we came back from Albania just a couple of weeks ago. We came back and there were a lot of demonstrations there, and we'd spent 10 days shooting Albania. And I said, wow, it'd be really cool because it was really, well, whilst we were there on the beach, people were actually demonstrating. We were actually in Sirana, and people were demonstrating. So it's like really hot news. So I said, like, hey, let's create a story around Albania. And so Sandro, who was on the tour, he's a very good filmmaker. And I said to him, hey, why don't we do like a video? And he said, okay, let's do that. And I said, okay, this is like the idea. And so we created the script with AI, and we did the voiceover also with AI. And but all the imagery was 100% non-AI. It was shot mostly. It was mostly my footage. There was a few bits and pieces which weren't mine, but I will also show this to you. And I think it's because of the timing, because of the storytelling, and it really connected with Albanians. Overnight, it had like hundreds of thousands of views, and I think up to today we have like something like 460,000. So I'm just telling you my point of view and what the idea that I had and why I did some storytelling. And so from that, I want to also encourage you to look at what your story is, and then to build on that. So we will look at what we can do, and this is something that we'll do afterwards, how we can build your story. And then in addition to the prizes that we're going to be giving you for the best photo and the best video, I'm also going to be doing a prize for the best story. So I wanted to do that after this challenge, but I think I'm going to include it now. So I will announce at one point what the prize will actually be. So I just want to show you with my example. So just for examples, and then, so this is 3 minutes. So I'm going to let you, I don't know if the sound will be good or it might be a little bit jagged, but to give you a little idea. 1 second, I think you won't be able to hear the audio. Okay. 1 second, maybe I can just connect some more. Okay, I'm going to play it like for a few seconds. Just let me know if you can hear the audio. Can you hear the audio? No, you can't hear the audio. Okay. Okay, then I don't know why the audio is not. Just a second. So you're basically saying that you can't hear the audio. You can't. Okay. Okay. Well, then you know what? I will just share it here in the chat. Okay. So that's the first one about the. Mhm. Here's the other one. I'm gonna push that here, copy that, paste it here. It's the second one. And then the other one with my wife. Yes. Copy that. Okay. So I would like you just to have a look at the. You can have a look at them. Maybe just give you 5 or 6 minutes just to have a look at them, and then we can come back and then we can chat about it. And I'll just. Okay, guys, I'm gonna come back a little bit. So if you want to raise a hand just to give me your interpretation of what storytelling is. Um, maybe Stefan, you want to unmute yourself? Yeah, great.
You mean me? Yes, you mean me,
Yeah,
yes?
yeah, Stefan, yeah.
Okay, first of all, I couldn't manage to watch the Albania film to the finish, but I really liked your Shutterstock video, really personal, really authentic, good work. And also what I have seen with the Albanian project was really professional in my point of view. I really liked it. It was just now 30 seconds, but the imagery and the talking and the way the first the story evolves in the beginning and stuff was working really well from my point of view. So, and now the question was to tell what storytelling from my point of view. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. Can I have a sec to think?
yeah, of course.
Okay. Okay. To make it simple, I think storytelling is a journey, like traveling. You're taking people from a starting point and you bring them to a special place. And in that place, you will end up with something. And how you tell the story can be really diverse. So you can start the story with coming up directly with what it's all about, but also you can come bringing the people and having like this famous word plot points in your storyline, like coming to another thing from another part. And I think for me, one great aspect, let's say, actually about documentary, but also storytelling is like getting in touch with people, getting to know people, getting close to things or people or storylines. You know, I always say, for me, the special thing about a good documentary is that I have the feeling I met that piece person in that documentary in person because I'm so close. I'm feeling so trusted, so authentic with this person. Even I've never met her. If I would met her later on and have seen her in this documentary, I would have that feeling, oh, we know each other because you have been so authentic. And I think one important thing is authenticity with this. And like you said, it's also something about emotions. It's something about informations. And it's, I think with every story, I think you have a target. You want something to change in the viewer, or you want the viewer to take something away from your film. And you have already in the beginning, you know where you want to go on the end. You know what you want to leave the people watching your story, what you want to leave in their minds. And yeah, can I leave it like this? Maybe.
Okay, yeah. So I met Stefan in I think it was in April in Hamburg, and we spent a few days together. And he also shared when I got home. He explained to me that he was in the graffiti scene, and he made a documentary about graffiti artists, and it was very beautiful. And I showed my kids, and now my actually my daughter a couple of days ago she was actually invited into Reut to do some spray painting. So um, uh, your documentary inspired her, and also my son he wants to do graffiti now. So as you said, see somebody sees it, it transforms something in them that they want to do something or take action or it changes their point of view. So I think you did a great job, and you kind of, as you said, you were interviewing the people. Some people were hidden because they didn't want to show their face because graffiti is not 100% legal. But yeah, you had that feeling of getting to know people within your documentary, and I think that was beautiful.
It's no
Yeah,
problem.
I like that. I like what you said as well. Like, it's a journey. Um, so, and I mean, you were saying about my videos, like it's personal. I think that is also key. And when I said at the very beginning, I don't want it to be like generic, like, oh, the climate is changing. No, it's like yeah, you want to say something?
No, no, no. It's just a colleague. He's leaving. Maybe I need to have a minute to talk with him.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Yeah, so it's about something personal. So it's, in my town, this is happening, or, things are changing in my town. Just kind of something personal that people can really identify with. I think that's important. Nobody else has raised their hand. Any, let me just check here. Filmmakers here. Um, hand, hands up, filmmakers. Filmmakers, hands up. Okay. Boys. Yeah, so Boyce has a YouTube channel as well. Tell us your
Yeah,
thoughts.
I don't certainly don't consider myself a filmmaker, but I love it. There's some pictures that you capture that have a deep, almost spiritual connection with you. And I find that, and they tell the story, but I find that if I can also, I used to just post them thinking others would feel the same thing I did. But I found that if I write, and actually what I do is I tell my wife what I was feeling and she writes it because she's just a better writer. But when I write these stories, then people, and sometimes ask a question, you know, maybe it's a man holding a lantern and he's looking in the cosmos and the Milky Way and he's seeing the glory of the universe, and then the write some just how I was feeling and how these stars have been here for billions of years and the universe and something like that, and ask what has anchored you in your life, or where do you go to hear or to feel the spirit of the universe, something like that, and then people answer questions. So I think storytelling is about uh, it can be one picture, it can be a documentary, it can be a news story, but it's really about making, I think Stefan said this too, it's really about making a connection with somebody and getting them to think about their uh, unique situation, maybe different from yours, maybe a different interpretation, but you have to make that connection and get other people thinking.
Right. So, so you're doing your storytelling from the standpoint of your YouTube channel or from some other
No, I
other
don't.
means?
YouTube to me is about collaborating and doing analysis with others and seeing, mostly in my case, what um, what motivates creativity and how to ignite that, and sharing, also just sharing data with other people. But in my I in my Instagram and other places where I sell the fine art photography, and also in what we upload, I feel like I'm documenting this period right now. It's like the Industrial Revolution, really, except it's more, instead of changing from hand workers to factory, we're changing from office to AI and all of these, just remarkable changes right now. And so I think that in that we're documenting, 5 years from now, I think the world is going to look very different. And people will even just 5 years, they'll come back. I lived I live here where there was nothing. And now I and stand on the deck, and it's a big urban sprawling, just maybe 500,000 people. And that wasn't there 10 years ago, but that's going to change even in 5 years. That hospitals are being built, schools are being built. So I just think that in a way we're documenting things that people will come back and say, well, now we have a transportation crisis. And they'll need our videos and our pictures to tell that story.
Yeah. So I think when I was listening to you, I was also getting sound bites. And I think that's also when we start to build our story in terms of the narrative. It's also about sitting down and just thinking and grabbing or writing down those what is important. So you were saying like, oh, it's maybe it's a new industrial revolution or things are really changing fast, and those are the sound bites that you can actually put into the videos that we're going to be doing. So um, that's one of the ways. So I also did a series of 8 short films for the Croatian ministry about for the demographics. And so I went around Croatia, and what I did, because it had to be 1 minute, couldn't be any longer, I first interviewed the people that I had to talk to. It was how COVID affected them and their business. And we had only 1 minute, so I first interviewed them, and then whilst they were talking, I would write down the sound bites. I'm like, okay, this is great, this is great, this is great. And then I said, listen, from everything you said, here are the points that are really important. Can you please repeat them? And so they would have to repeat it in sequence. So some people were faster than others. But that was the way that I kind of created the script. So the script is really, really important to grab the really important points that we really want to say and put them in your film. A friend of mine he does advertising. He's in Paris. He's got a huge production company, and he said to me, Paul, 50% is the music. And I think that's kind of the emotional part. And when we were creating films for clients, we would spend like 1 or 2 days just looking for the music and putting them into a folder and listening to them and saying, okay, is this going to work? Is there enough crescendo? Is there enough change in the music? So also finding the music is really, really important. You have resources online, like royalty-free resources, some free websites as well, so you can kind of go and download those. What I've also noticed is like there's like a slow start and it kind of goes crescendo and then goes down again. So when we made the film for My Changing Environment, we were also looking for music that actually fits, and we actually took some music from the film that I did before, which worked really well. So I want to ask, is anybody else here who've done some documentaries or some films or commercials? Yeah, Walters? Who put up their hand? Nilaya, okay. Nilaya?
Well, I have shot for commercials. I have shot for like hotels. Like for example, this year I was doing quite a lot for hotels in Finland, like primarily Lapland. Can't say that I did like the full film editing. I did make like, for example, as a stock video, which I showed to my customers. I can send a link to YouTube if that helps.
Okay. So was there a factor of storytelling in there about?
Yeah, primarily, yeah, of course. I was writing like the whole script for like their Instagram stories, Instagram reels, then like the ideas. They didn't have, most of them took some ideas, but the thing is, some hotels don't really wish to pay for full filmmaking. They think that it's much cheaper for them to basically edit themselves. So they kind of took the ideas, watched like what I create for them, and like primarily just took the stock like footage which I made for them. I have, however, made like a couple of more like Instagram stuff for them and for my account as well. I, by the way, sent the YouTube link to the chat.
Yeah,
it's
so
like,
just tell me, what was important for you in the storytelling? What was your thought process?
well, my thought process was, since Lapland is quite unique, like I'm not from Lapland myself, so for me the winter and all of like the winter wonderland views and all of the like snow-covered trees is like quite magical. So the primary stuff for nature shooting for me was to showcase all of the beautiful trees, the nature, the frozen landscape, the sky, the like activities. Activities is quite a big thing there since well, Lapland Day is not very long, so primarily tourists come there to do like reindeer hunting or like hunting. Like technically, you just go like with the reindeers and yeah, snowmobiles and stuff like that, and like skiing. So that's the primary stuff which I did. So showcasing what can you do there, what can be done at the hotel, how does the hotel look like, how does like the activities look like, what's the experience, and of course make it as emotional as possible.
How did you create your storytelling text, the narration?
Like I wrote the script and then I used what was it, CapCut AI for like the voiceover.
Okay, great.
Since well, mostly it's okay if like everyone can make voiceovers, but for like some hotels they prefer to have like very neutral, no accent at all, and yeah, so basically that's what they wanted, like AI voiceover, and CapCut has a pretty decent one which sounds quite natural.
Okay. So I've clicked on the link now, so I'll be able to watch it afterwards. But
Yep.
yeah, I just watched this part so I can see there is narration, which is great. Yeah. So also another thing is that of course we have the shots that we're shooting, right? And I think there's a real beauty. So one thing is like you're out there with your drone outside and you're shooting all these clips and like cinematic and getting these great moves, getting the great lights. That's all really important. And then comes the point where you kind of, and I think so just in terms of like how to build the film is like, okay, you actually got your narration and you basically put that into the timeline. And then you start taking the clips and you start putting them in. And then you start kind of the magic of editing. Does this fit with this? Does that fit with this? You start putting it in, and then you start putting like rhythms in terms of, okay, the beat changes here, so I'm going to change the next clip here. So that's like also the beauty in editing, which also kind of takes time. And then kind of the magic of the film starts to come alive. And then that's also when you realize, hey, it would be really cool with this clip. And it would be really cool with this. Maybe I'm missing that because, you know, my story was talking about this and I don't have it. And this then gives you opportunities like, hey, let me go outside and record it now just for my clip. So you can go out, come back, put it into the timeline. Or, for example, one film that I did for a friend for his book, we had a really great story, but then we realized actually the first part wasn't great, and he came up with a really cool idea. I said, wow, that's really great. And he went outside, he could go in the courtyard, he was recording it, and then he came back and we took it and then we put it in the first part with the intro to the film, and that worked really well. So it's kind of a crafting mechanism. And I think it also takes time. You can't like sit down like, hey, I'm going to edit it now and like in 2 hours it's done. It's also something that you edit, you do your first cut, you look at it, and then you sit on it. And then you get the feeling, and then you come back the next day, and then you look at it with a fresh eye and like, oh, okay. And then, so then that kind of the first cut is also really important. And then of course, I mean, if you're working with an editor or if you have somebody else kind of giving feedback, and then you kind of build your story. And I think that's also a really creative process. So I just wanted to mention that. And so Nilaya, you raise your hand, so tell me. Hi.
Yeah.
I can't hear you. Sorry, the sound went. You're on mute. You have to unmute yourself. You're still on mute. There you go.
Yeah. Hello. You can hear me now?
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah. I wanted to share what I don't share so easily, but yeah, I started actually to experiment a few months ago with a Facebook channel, and it was inspired by some 2 years ago. I came back in Holland and to live in Friesland. Friesland is the most oldest and full of heritage province in the Netherlands, and I so loved it here to live here after 20 years in Portugal. So I thought, oh, this is so beautiful, all this old heritage architecture, which is very well maintained all in Holland. But also maritime heritage, you have a lot here, sailing, events, very old boats on lakes, it's full of water here. So I started to build this Facebook channel also as an experiment for myself,
Okay.
to see what is attracting to people. What kind of clips do people really like? This kind of things, and you can see that in the views and stuff. So I started to do that, and to my surprise, it was so viewed so much that on a certain point, 1.5 months later, I got a message from Facebook if I was interested to earn money with it. I thought, yeah, why not? I mean, if there are no restrictions or limitations from their sides or yeah, objective things that I don't like. No, but there were not any restrictions. I could post whatever I want. I could just go on, and so I only wanted to say from in this page you see actually a whole story. Every time I took actually a shot from 30 seconds, one long take, one take. I just wanted to experiment what it, and Facebook also told me go on with this because people like it. People like this one take, just one take, very beautiful taken. So I got this messages also from Facebook because I also experimented with 30 seconds, but then 2 or 3 takes from different, and then the views immediately went down. Very strange, very, but actually interesting. So I started to take that long takes again, and immediately the views went up. So
Wow.
it's kind of interesting. And I saw also from, yeah, this channel is very, very successful. So you can just, everybody can do that. They can have a Facebook page with their own story, just create it, and yeah, who knows, maybe Facebook is interested and it runs like hell, because I also didn't expect that.
Yeah. That's great. I mean, I think, yeah, there's, I mean, that's a really good piece of information about a clip length, because I hear quite often, oh, people, they don't have attention. It needs to be fast. It needs to be short.
Yeah.
And I've also
Yeah,
experienced.
you have to take really slow moves, not fast moves. People don't, yeah. And I also personally don't like it. Let's say that, So I never did that also. So it's maybe one of the things that made it also very successful, that it is very slow, and yeah, the light and everything, the composition, everything has to be good. That's for sure. I mean, yeah.
When editing my changing environment challenge video, at the beginning, the editor, he put too many clips too fast, and I said, no, you need to give time for people to actually look at the clip, because if you're just feeding another one, you can't really enjoy it, and especially the aerial stuff that we're taking, it's very enjoyable to look at. So also with the YouTube channel that we're building now, we're going to be launching it by the end of this month. So we'll have about 20 videos prepared. And the brief is shoot longer clips, because like at least 20, 30-second long clips.
Yeah.
So we'll be giving you also creative direction on that. Yeah, so congratulations on that. And I think
No, but I just wanted to say it's yeah, you can also in a more global way you can tell your story as a page,
Mhm.
that you don't have to compress it in 2 minutes or whatever. I also have one composition like this on my channel that I really took many places, and it's going on the beat from the music. It's
Mhm.
really like, and that was, it was nice to do that actually. And it's not perfect, I must say. It's not totally perfect, but I left it like this because it was already viewed so much that I thought, okay, I will not touch it anymore now. But I always intending to make it more perfect, of course.
Could you share the link to your Facebook group in the chat?
Yeah, I will do that.
Nilaya, thanks a lot. And I think also to take out what Nilaya was saying is experiment. She had an idea. She said, "Hey, let me try it out." Created a Facebook, and then from something else happened. And I think that's also important um, as creatives, is to be able to experiment. So this
Yeah,
is something maybe that when we maybe get older or more responsibility in our lives, we kind of cut back on the experimental part of our life. And that's what I found also. So I'm also hanging out with my daughter actually at the moment. So she invited me to one of her workshops,
mm,
and I'm like, okay. And I was hanging out with some teenagers and some 20-year-olds, and I was just sitting there, and it became super creative. And at one point, I'm like just sitting there. I'm like, I started feeling a little bit frustrated, and I'm like, okay, Paul, just be here, just be here, just be. And I just like
yeah.
sat there, and then all of a sudden, this wave of creativity came. And I think, yeah, it's important to be able to also take the time to be creative.
Yeah, and what I also want to say, because when you don't do it with a purpose from, I will earn money with it or whatever, when you don't do that, it's also, I'm also, Facebook sometimes pushes me. They say, yeah, you have to post 2 videos a week, but I don't do that. I mean, I just follow. I really keep on being free to post whenever I want, and it works so well. Not only for me, but also, I see that the views are getting hardly less when I don't post for 2 or 3 weeks,
Great, great.
for example. So it's like, yeah, that you don't, it can be very, because you are so successful, you think, oh, now I have to, but it also costs your creativity, and
Exactly.
this is always my point. I want to live my creativity in the first place.
Yeah,
And then in the second place, it's really great, of course, to make some money with it, but not any other way.
yeah. I agree with you. I think creativity is actually the source
Yeah.
of revenue. It's just an outcome of being creative. And I think I also, when I was making films, was for a friend. I never had ever before anxiety attacks.
Yeah.
So I woke up in the morning and I was frozen, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how to make a film. I don't know what to do. And I just
Yeah.
completely froze. And the anxiety that I had to perform to be creative
Yeah.
completely blocked me. And the only way that I got out of it is like, well, you know how to do this. What's the first step? This is the first step. You just need to sit down, talk with him, and interview him. Okay, I can do that. And that's how I managed to get out of my anxiety. So yeah, there's a lot to creativity. There's a lot of being a creative and being a professional creative, which
Yeah.
is so. Malaya, thanks a lot for sharing that. I think it was really valuable. So I just want to pass on to Ewan. So you had a statement.
Yeah,
Okay.
Hi guys. Yeah, for me, I think you were saying about the music element being 50-50 of it. And I agree. I think it's a really important part of your sort of movie making process. And sometimes for me, I mean, I've got a lot of sort of short stories on Instagram, and it's more for me like a personal journey, which I'm sort of exploring. And in fact, joining AA has given me a real sort of purpose and stuff to sort of pursue sort of stories and stuff. But going back to the music for me, sometimes the music takes the lead and is kind of like the directive of it. So I could have a bunch of videos that I've made, and I'm like, how am I going to sort of arrange this? And then I'll listen to a piece of music, and it almost starts flowing. And I kind of listen to the music, and it kind of gives it that direction of where I want my story to go. So I think that's a really interesting part, you know, that again, it's sort of, you can, once I start listening to the music, and music's a big part of my life as well. I play music, so I'm hoping to kind of incorporate my own music within my videos as well. But yeah, it kind of takes the lead sometimes, and then it kind of gives me ideas from that. Um, so yeah, I just find that really interesting. And it's a slightly different way. I know maybe sometimes you can make films and then add the music to it. Sometimes I'll find the music, or the music finds me, and then I almost like, there's bits of film that I've made that fit the piece of music perfectly, and it's like, wow, it's really strange how that's come together. It's almost like it's meant to be for that piece of music. And that's a great feeling, you know, when you get to that, when you're able to find something that fits your film and gives it that direction, and everything flows, and you can get all your transitions perfect to the beat, to the rhythm of the music. I mean, having a narrative is kind of a new thing which I'm going to take on board. But again, I've always kind of done with the imagery, and maybe sometimes let people's imagination sort of go with the sort of the music and the film that they see. So I've kind of gone by that, but adding a narrative to it is going to be a new thing for me, which I'm really interested to kind of do. But yeah, I just think the
Great.
music side is really important.
I like that a lot because I have some friends that are musicians, and I'm not at all a musician. And I'm always fascinated by their brain, how they kind of come up with music, and they have like this thing. And I'm like, where did that come from? I don't even have it. That
Yeah,
so you have that, and I have, like, for example, I can close my eyes and I'm going to see. I'm going to see what I am, a more visual person. So I'm
yeah,
more. I have also the kind of an analytical part of me, which like would be the text and the explaining and stuff like that. So like the
yeah,
combination of visual and explaining, but less the music. For me, the music is the pain
yeah,
part. Like
yeah.
how I find this music, and you kind of start with the music, which is really interesting.
Yeah, I think, do you know what? I think there's actually a connection between sort of being able to sort of play music and flying drones. Strangely enough, it's certainly a creative thing, you know, and whether it's sort of the pattern with, like, I mean, I play guitar, so whether it's sort of the pattern in the way I'm playing, and again sort of the freedom it gives when I'm sort of flying sort of the drones, it just almost like molds together. It's just that it's a real sort of strange sensation, and it's a really beautiful, it can be a really beautiful thing when you can get something just right, you know, and it all comes from you as well, and it's yeah, it's a really sort of creative explosion, you know, and it all mixes together, and it's just yeah, it's just great. I mean, sometimes, yeah, you know, you have that kind of mental block, and you kind of can't kind of picture things with the music and that, but I think that's all part of the process.
Right.
You know, that you find when you're doing that.
Yeah, and I think most people don't go down the lines of storytelling because they don't know what the ingredients are. And I think this is why we're having this discussion today, is to talk about the different ingredients. And now understanding what ingredients I need to put into my film, and also, let's say, the thought process and the creativity and the emotions, and also letting go of fear, because there's also fear which is going to prevent us from being creative. Because like, oh, I can't do it, or if I do it and people watch it and
Yeah.
don't think of me.
I,
So I
I,
think there's
I've done stuff and then kind of looked at it after and gone, "Oh, I don't know if I like that, I don't know." And again, that's the fear element, because I'm thinking, well, I don't personally like that, and I'm I suppose my best critic, but then there might be, it can be subjective, because there might be people out there that go, wow, and people have. I mean, I've done stuff where I thought, no, that's terrible. I really don't like that, and I'm not feeling that spiritually. But then other people have said, this is amazing. This is great, and I really feel it. And it's, yeah,
well, I think what then Nalaya did as well. She just puts it out there, and then she just like not just putting it out to the wind, and
yeah,
without much fear, more like out of, this is my purpose, this is my passion. I'm just putting it out to the universe, and who
yeah.
likes it, like, doesn't. So I think it's also great. So, and this is, I mean, great, this is great stuff. So, what I want to, I will also, the document that I was showing you, I'm going to put all the links that you guys put in the chat. I'm going to add to that document, so you'll be able to look at Stefan's trailer. There will be links to Nilaya's Facebook group. Here, Valter's also put a link, so I'll put all those in the document for you to have a look at. So I think, unless there's somebody else who wants to raise their hand, I just want to maybe move on. Let's see. Okay. So I want you guys to be creative. Take the ingredients. So I will add some more things to the documents, of course. But be creative. Start to imagine and tell what your story is going to be. And also don't give too much expectation of the outcome of what it's going to be, but really be in presence of what I want to tell. And I think that is key, without the expectation of what people will think or what the outcome will be, but more to be in the process. So think about your story, what's happening in your environment, what you want to tell, what's important for you, and you can make notes, you can write it down, or you can just keep it in your mind and let it grow. And then you can start jotting a script. And of course, there's always shortcuts where you can say, hey, here are my notes, this is what I want to talk about, here are my ideas, and you can go to ChatGPT and input everything and think, hey, please create a script for me. That is also a possibility. There's no good and bad here. The Albania video was built like that. But of course, with input saying, hey, no, this and that, like, you can fine tune it, you can work on it. I think this is, it could be there to help you, and not to create the script for you, but to actually shape what you might want to say. And then you can also say, listen, I want to do it in 2 minutes, I want to do it in 1 minute, and then you can like shorten the script and just try to build that script. And once you have the script, then you have your images, and start to put into your timeline all the videos that you have that you want to showcase within your video. And of course, try to find some music that you want to use. And so, I mean, what we will do at one point, of course, we will have the outcome of a story that we will be able to post, whether on YouTube or on Instagram. And of course, we want to share the storytelling that we're doing within our community, and we will also figure out some prizes around this, because I think it's also really important. And yeah, so we have I'm not saying that in 2 weeks, at the 31st of August, you need to have your story. We can extend it. It's not a problem because we're still in the process of shooting My Changing Environment. But we can move this storytelling competition into September and use next week's call as well. So next week's call will be, I think, will be the last one, where we can discuss, ask questions. We can even showcase what we've done. Maybe the ideas, if you just want to have the scripts, the ideas, the music, and that this is a process over the next 2 to 3 weeks where we can support each other in building our story. And Ilaya, thanks for joining. So,
Okay, thank you, Paul.
have a nice evening.
Ciao.
Does anybody have any questions or comments about this storytelling creation challenge? Any concerns? Any questions, Walter?
Yeah, much reckon. How long does the video have to be? Like 1 minute, 2, 3, 1.5, or is it completely up to me?
It can be a 52-minute.
All right, I'm gonna go for 53 then.
No, there's no limits. There's no limits whatsoever.
All right.
You know what your story is. You want to tell your story. If it takes 30 seconds, if it takes 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, that's not really that's not the limitation here. What we want to do is to tell a story, and we want to feel compelled.
All right, will do then.
Anybody in this group that might have challenges with editing software, what software to use? They don't have so much experience with audio. And anybody here, you can also reach out to me. I can also assist you. So yeah. Great. Anybody else? Okay, great. Yeah, so as Nilaya was saying, Facebook wants to pay her to create content, and so we will be launching our new platform in about, well, we will be letting in a few people at the beginning of September. This new platform is going to be super cool. You're going to see it. I'm very excited. And part of this new website is about the photographer. It's not about you uploading content for stock. That will be one part of it. The other part is who are you? Who are you as a photographer? Who are you as a filmmaker? And to start really building yourselves up as creators. And that when people come to Amazing Aerial and they come to your profile, they're like, oh my God, So we're going to give you a lot of tools to do to create show reels and stories and articles related to the photos that you're shooting. So it will be a platform which will not just be about stock photography, but will be really about the creative process. So I'm very excited about it, and this challenge about storytelling is going to really fit in really well, because when people come to your page, they're like, okay, now I know who this person is. I know who this photographer is. I know what he does. He runs a YouTube channel. He has a film a production company. He lives in this country. He has this talent, and they can really understand you as a photographer. And then this profile will really enable you to then build your business on top of that. So if you want to find business in your region, then we will also be supporting you in doing that. But so this is what this new amazing area is going to be. It's going to be a place for photographers, professional photographers, to have all the tools that they need to build different revenue streams. There you go, guys. Thanks for joining again today, and let's start the storytelling. Cool. Any last words? Any last thoughts? Okay. Yeah, you can unmute yourself and say goodbye, and see you next week for our last challenge call.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Great, guys. See you next week, and see you on WhatsApp. And really happy to see all your photos coming up. Boyce, you have a question? I see your hand raising. You're raising your hand, or you're just sending emoticons? Okay. Guys, have a nice evening, and see you on WhatsApp. You can unmute yourself and say goodnight. Ciao, Armand.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Goodbye.
Ciao, Martin.